Welcome back to Casual Bias Rugby, week 2 of the Autumn Nation series, done and dusted. Fan Forum is back. As you guys know, you guys always love a bit of the salty Northern Hemisphere and the snobby, cocky, arrogant Southern Hemisphere. So let's talk about it. Jake, welcome back. Tiernan, welcome back. Aiden, welcome back. Jake, we'll come straight to you. Another one, done and dusted. What do you say? Undefeated at the Alien Stadium. What do you call this at the moment? What's the opposite of that?
Dreadful. Just
What's that, five in a row?
The French in history for the Irish has been dominated at our own ground. I feel disappointed. I feel, I just want to jump off the top of Twickenham really now. Like, it's just sad times watching us get dominated by all these teams when we should have won all 3 of those games. Like, genuinely,
what's very sad. What's very sad. It's just another one of those occasions where he's lost 5 in a row now, and every single time we'll say we were the better team. We deserve to win that game. Just another one of those stories.
You know what? We lost all those games. Like we lost it. You didn't win it. Only Australia really properly won it off us, and fair play to them. We should have tackled better, but they did well. But for this one, South Africa, I just feel like it's England again. They've thrown it away. I don't want to hear, "Oh, we didn't play well, South Africa." Like, you might not play brilliantly, but that's what England does. England makes it so difficult for the best team to sort of do what they want to do, and then we'd have opportunities, and you're 22, and then we just drop it or something, and it's just like it's so frustrating. Like, we're bottling these opportunities.
Aiden, it's a tough time for Jake, right? Because in the previews of every single game, even after the games, he's called it the Alien Stadium, right? Because he wants those brand deals. He's respected the name. He said Twickenham 2 or 3 times already now. He's just so over it at the moment. The guy is depleted. The energy is low. He's got nowhere to go at the moment. He's just stuck. And everyone's just bullying him. How are we feeling, Aiden?
Well, I can't say I'm any more chipper than old mate Jake down there, as my team didn't get a win either. But, it's a little different for us than it is for him. The Alien Stadium, its new name, they haven't won there since it's been called that, so it might be time for a rethink. Maybe change it to some other insurance company. They might have a better deal for them. But, I mean, it's rough to be an England supporter right now. And as you said, was it 5 losses on the trot? All close games. There's no killer instinct in that team right now, it seems, and I think they're struggling for identity. So I'll be interested to see how long old Borthwick lasts.
Oh, well, him, Warren Gatlin, and Eddie Jones, same WhatsApp group at the moment.
No, you've used that joke before. You've used that joke before. I don't need you to use that again. And you can't say Borthwick's in quite that level. Like, not yet. Well, he's not Gatland.
No, but you can agree that Gatlin's there because he's had the performances before. Borthwick's there on vibes. Borthwick hasn't done anything. He's just jumps for the boys.
Next week for England versus Japan, El Sakiko, Eddie Jones versus Steve Borthwick.
Eddie Jones has been right with Japan,
which probably won't. Sorry. Imagine Eddie Jones just decides Japan's going to have the game of their lives and end Steve Borthwick's job.
I mean, imagine that. Imagine Eddie Jones. He puts the final nail in the coffin for the man that succeeded him. Oh, the storyline. I'm here for it.
Rugby heritage.
It's a bit of and Eddie Jones likes a bit of vengeance. He got one over South Africa. He's got it over Ireland. He's going to get one over England at some point. It would be sensational. I just love
it. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Well, what would you do? Let's talk hypotheticals. If it did happen, what would you think?
He's got to go. Steve Borthwick would have to go. If he loses to Japan, he has to go. And not lose Japan at home. Oh, God, no. But we won't lose to Japan. And I don't think Borthwick, I don't want him gone yet, but he's got to have a big Six Nations next year. But yeah, I'll give him a bit more time.
Okay,
he won't beat France. He won't beat Scotland. He could lose to Italy, and imagine Wales get one in there as well.
We're not going to lose
England
to Italy.
last in the Six Nations. It would be the most.
We're not going to lose to Italy, and we've got France and Scotland at home. So we haven't
won more losses at the Allianz Stadium.
Huh? You haven't won at home yet. I'm not sure it's an advantage anymore.
What happened? Look, Jake, just out of curiosity, I'm not asking this to be funny. What happened the previous time you played France at home? Like, is it possible for you to?
I think you've brought back some not so full memories.
Didn't they put like 55 on you?
I don't remember. I've like destroyed that game from my memory. That was the most painful
Okay.
day.
Well,
that might have been
let's
worse than the South Africa semi-final. Honestly, the humiliation that day.
Well, let's actually start talking about the game, because I don't think it was all doom and gloom for England. I thought in patches they looked really good. In my opinion, they played more of the rugby. I don't think South Africa really had a solid performance. Obviously, I'll take the win all day long, right? I'll rather take an ugly win than a beautiful loss, which Jake has been having to take for the past couple of weeks. I mean, the guy's depressed.
Look at him.
But in the end,
So
like there was some good performances out there. But in the end, once again, just not getting it over the line, Jake.
Well, it's just again, I honestly believe it's just the defence. They just can't tackle. Like all of your tries come from poor errors, and I know Aidan will try and say it's some masterful, tactical genius attacking again. But Grant Williams just goes straight through Genge and Martin, and then Stewart shows him the wrong way, where there's a defender, but instead he goes the other way, and Stewart gets turned inside out. Then what's the second try? I can't remember. Oh, the charge down one. That's our own fault. The crossfield kick. It came from a weird penalty. Will Stewart high tackle, which was ridiculous. And then sort of Colby does a good step, to be fair. So that one's fair enough. Then the fourth one, again, Ben Earl just gets bumped and Diolende's through. It's all individual. 3 of those tries are individual errors, and it's just so frustrating.
Yeah, are we going to have to talk about Jake not accepting tries being scored once again? Because, listen, George Martin bursts through Oxenchair, right? And then Sam Underhill gets the ball, and he also bursts through Oxenchair. Am I now supposed to say that try does not count because Oxenchair missed 2 tackles?
Well, you can say that if you want. You can say that South Africa's more defence and good England carries, but that was like multiple phases. Your ones are like one phase, bang, and it's over, and it's like this is crap defence,
Yeah, I'm not having it. That is just stupid. That is the ultimate form of coping mechanism.
It's not stupid. One would be like, your disallowed one, which was it did go forward, South Africans, in your little comment section. That was clearly forward from Fassi. But that was like sort of good attack, and Freeman just gets beat, and that was a nice attacking move. Whereas I think the ones you actually did score, which did count, were just 3 out of 4 of them were just England's individual errors.
Okay, well, the one that you scored right at the start of the game, Ben Earl had the most obvious knock-on in the world from the line-out. So you can always talk about these hypotheticals. In the end, we scored, you scored, it is what it is, and we smashed it in the end at home, right? We played bad, and on our worst day, we still beat you by 9 points. That must be a tough call to
you were
swallow.
having a go at half-time on my live about if they bring on Pollard for Lebok and they keep kicking it up. But I'll tell you what, Pollard won you that game because he kicked those 5 points, the conversion and penalty, which Lebok would have missed at least one of them, and took that to a 2-score game. So you might not like Pollard's playing style, but he wins your games definitely.
Yeah, well, Lebok struggled, right? So I don't have an issue with Lebok being subbed. Like the guy did struggle a bit, but he's kicking. Okay, he missed one from 50 out, and the other one he hit the post from the touchline. I don't think his kicking was that bad.
I'm just saying, Pollard then got one from 50 out and one from the touchline.
Because he's a specialist kicker. He is a specialist
I'm agreeing. I'm just saying, I think he won you the game. He was fantastic when he came on.
Oh, fair enough. Tiernan, from an outside perspective, what was your... Oh, you didn't even watch the game. You went ice skating.
I went ice skating. No, but I just want to give thoughts on the situation of it, though. Like, how have you lost 3 at home? How would you use Australia? Like, this is an absolute... It's going to turn into a home curse. So they lose 3 in a row.
Let's talk about your loss to New Zealand and your abysmal performance against Argentina. I've had enough of getting.
Oh, we'll get there.
We will.
Let's
move on. Jake, don't you worry. We will move on, and we will be on Tiernan's case. Tiernan will probably be on his own team's case, by the way, if you look at his content that he's been posting. Aidan, from an outside perspective, just tell us what was your thoughts on that South African game.
Yeah, I think even though, as we've all said, the Springboks performance was a little lackluster, I think it's more of a positive thing than a negative thing. On your supposed worst day, I don't know if it's your actual worst day out on the field, but on a bad day on the pitch, you guys can still get the job done against an English side, although we make fun of them a lot because there's a lot to make fun of at the moment. Still a quality side, they do show up they do put in big performances. They just can't get across the line. So from a South African perspective, I think you should be pleased. You know, you played poorly. You got the win by a comfortable margin too, 9 points, 2 scores. An England fan, your attack looked all right, which is nice, I suppose. Like, against Australia, your attack looked all right. Against New Zealand, not sure you did attack. So at least that's improving. But man, there's got to be some weight lifted off Marcus Smith's shoulders because that guy is carrying your entire team.
You know what though? You know what? In the first half, like Ollie Slightholme had a great first half. Tommy Freeman was like great in the air, and then Freddie Stewart was pretty good in attacking in the air. And then last half an hour, you didn't hear any of those 3 names or Tom Roebuck who came on. You didn't even hear about them in attack. He just kept going to like Ollie Lawrence or Slade, and it didn't get any further, which isn't necessarily their fault, but it just got to find a way to use the wings more when we're in around the 22, you know?
Yeah, I think like a lot of the new modern wingers are making themselves more busy. Obviously, wings of old used to just sit out on the wing, wait for the ball to come to them, and then, you know, run like leather into the corner. But modern wingers, they're getting involved in pick and goes and the rucks. They're being the short man off the line out. I think they need to find ways to get more involved, get more into the game.
I mean, even their own commentators, who, by the way, annoyed the shit out of me, right? Because these English commentators were just crying about literally everything. Eben being offside and this and that, never criticizing England. They never criticized England, but they kept on talking about the ref, kept on talking about Eben Etzebeth, never mentioned Ben Earl's knock-on. Like these guys, I was just like, can you just stop crying? At some point, because they kept on asking for yellow cards as well. But then, as Jake just mentioned, in that final 10 minutes, even they called out it's getting repetitive. It's the same thing over and over again. Like England running the same play with Ollie Lawrence just crashing it up, or Henry Slade acting like he's going to throw the ball in behind, but it's just a crash ball for Ollie Lawrence. And they had to pay the price in the end. And it made that we could get those turnovers every single time at the end.
And when you're going against a Dialende, you're not going to get much go forward, you know. You're playing like against the best inside centre in the world. So I don't understand the tactics behind that.
Yeah.
You know, so England, it's England.
At least you have Japan, and it's not a good Japan. It's not that Japan where you're like, okay, anything can happen. This Japan team is struggling. So
England are making you look good. You know, we're making you look guys feel good. That's what England do. We always come second, make the other people feel good. So that's what we do.
Wow. That is embarrassing.
They keep doing it. No one's complaining.
That is very embarrassing to say.
What?
Anyway. Okay. I wanna speak about the All Blacks and France in a second. Not immediately.
The way he goes. Goodbye, Ed.
Not immediately. At first, I want to give Tiernan the floor because he's gone on a couple of rants about his team. Ireland defeating Argentina at home, 22 points to 19. Convincing? Not at all. Deserved victory? After the first half, you'd say so. Not after the second half. Tiernan, what was your thoughts on that one? Sneaking over the line.
Look, I have a lot to speak about these 2 games, but the biggest thing I think that's uncovered is that our depth is just not good enough. And I'm thinking of 3 players specifically, Cian Healy, Peter O'Mahony and Conor Murray. When they came on, there is no one behind them coming up. And that's the thing I think we really need to look at quick. Because this team is serious about doing well over the next couple of years, keeping their form. And they have not been blooding new players. And I keep calling this out. And they just seem... Now, they did finally do it last weekend. Thomas Clarkson and Sam Prendergast making their debuts. They're both great. But I'm looking at these players and I'm thinking to 2027, who's going to be there? And Peter O'Mahony, no. Conor Murray, no. Cian Healy, no. Tyke Byrne, you could argue, probably not. A lot of key players. And there's a lot of players in that squad who should be getting to that team. And especially these matches, like we've gotten a great streak the past couple of years. It's time to now make sure that streak continues, build some depth. And they really haven't been doing that. They've 2 new players coming in. So against Fiji, I honestly don't care if we lose. I just want to see pretty much a full team of brand new players. And just to start building this depth back up again. Because these 2 performances have just shown that these guys that are starting to make their way out the team, they have no one behind them. And if you leave that for 2 more years, suddenly it could be a Wales situation. All your star players, they leave. I'm honestly, and it will happen if they don't.
This is 2 games. 2 games ago, this guy called Ireland one of the best teams to ever play the game, and now this might be a Wales situation. 2 games later.
That's what it is, because the form has dropped, and I do think I hate to name names, but Andrew Gooden, their new coach, attack coach, he was with Leinster last year, and I gotta say he really wasn't good for Leinster. Their attack just wasn't there, and we're seeing the same issues with Ireland. So I think the discipline is just not good enough. The cohesion, the team doesn't seem to be there like it used to be, and just giving the ball away too much, kicking when you really shouldn't be kicking. They're just not playing like the Ireland we've known for the past 3 or 4 years. They're just aren't.
There's murmurs and people talking in the hood that Ireland are coming back down the other side of the mountain. They're sort of past their peak, and this is it. This is the slow decline of Irish rugby. How do you feel about that?
Okay, this is South African fans who are starting to have this coping mechanism that maybe will finally go away.
Why does everyone always blame the South African fans?
Because it's you guys. We're discussing you guys here by saying Ireland.
You do realise you are hated by the Welsh, by the Scots, by the English as well. So it's not all just South African fans. What are you talking about? There's no evidence that it's purely just South African fans.
Yeah, but those guys aren't named Quacka van der Merwe.
Well, the Scots are.
It's not a specific guy, by the way. It's just a general.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I've seen this comment. They're stupid. Like, come on. Again, it is 2 games. These are issues I'm kind of thinking about. Maybe they're concerns. They're not actual issues. Obviously, we're not going to turn like Wales. We actually get behind our club teams and our national team. But yeah, if they don't fix these issues, we're going down a slippery slope right here. There's players that are leaving who have got no experienced players coming up behind them. We're reliant on this group of maybe 26 to 30 players, and that's it. Andy Farrell said during the week, there isn't many players in this country who are prepared to play at the test level if needed. But yeah, it's only 2 games. You are right. That New Zealand game, you could argue we were rusty. We're ranked above them now, which for some reason, don't know how.
The reason that I don't think this is going to be one of those massive drop-offs, well, not immediately, right, is I thought the performance against Argentina was patchy. If Ty Byrne didn't knock that ball at the end of the first half over the line, that score ends up being 24-9 or 26-9 after the first half. We would be singing a different song, right? But just because he knocked that ball, it kind of gave Argentina some hope. They scored again. They kicked a couple of penalties, and all of a sudden they're back in the game and they've got all the momentum, right? So it's small margins when it comes to this game. I don't think these old guys have been mucking about or anything on the field necessarily. Yeah, it's maybe a dip in form and you got to find your feet and stuff again. But it wasn't like a 80 minutes shit show. Argentina was good. You beat. It's kind of the same way as how we beat England. And I'm not just singing Ireland's praises. I actually thought you played well in patches. But when you can beat a team like Argentina, who's playing well, and you can beat them on your off days, you take that. You take that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They should have been able to stay in that comfortable situation the whole game. And especially when the bench came on, we struggled a lot there. So there's a lot of issues. I'm not saying we're done whatsoever. I'm not trying to hate on my own team because I will never do that. But they need to look at the depth issue. They need to look at the handling, the cohesion, the discipline, especially. That's really killing us in these games. And looking to Wallabies, I'm worried. I didn't like when I before the series looked at that game. I'm going easy, 40-point win, great way to close up the series.
They're really good.
They are playing scarily good, and that is obviously Fiji. We could go lose that game, but as long as we play a new development team, I don't care. Because at the moment, we're in the stage of the World Cup cycle. If we want to win the World Cup in 2027, which, well, it does seem kind of unlikely now, if they want to go do that, they can start building their depth, and they can easily go do it. But yeah, that Australia game, I'm worried. They need to really get their act together because that run in rugby will kill us with that defence and our cohesion distance.
Yeah. Aiden, did you feel that Argentina have it in the bag at the end of the game?
First of all, I would like to apologise to the nation of Argentina for my prediction this week. I said they would lose by 35 points, and I was wrong. Very, very wrong. So for that, I'm sorry, Argentina. Vamos las Pumas. You've got a fan in me.
Oh, Jesus.
But yeah, genuinely, I thought they were going to steal it away at the end. Their second half, they looked the better team. Obviously, first 20 minutes, all Ireland. They looked like they could run away with it. And I thought at that point in time, my prediction was looking pretty good. But no, credit to the Argentinians. They are a gritty team, and they do have, star players throughout their team now. It's not like Argentinian teams of old where they've got a couple superstars here and there, and the rest of the team sort of just fills in. They're really building nicely, and they didn't do what they usually do and have a great performance in a terrible one. Sure, they weren't great in the first half, but they turned that around in the second half, changed the momentum, and were a sort of a head contact and a tackle away from winning the game anyways.
Can we just say, that at the start, the yellow cards, and that was pretty much a 21-point swing because they scored a try from that got disallowed, and then Ireland got 2 during that yellow card. So we need to remember that they didn't have a bad start until that happened, and they could have easily won that game. And Ireland didn't score a point in the second half, and some of that was because of poor Irish play, but a lot of it was because Argentina's attack was pretty solid. Defense was pretty solid, and so they definitely could have won it. And ultimately, the difference was a sort of a Jack Crowley drop goal, which is ironic. But Argentina played really well.
It's close.
I think this Argentinian team is what we're seeing from it. Again, different from past teams, their ability to adapt to the game better. Obviously, when they're behind in the past, they have sort of tried going forward with the same thing, and you see these quite large score lines. But this team, especially now, I don't know if it's like the leadership group or something, they just seem better adapted to the game at hand, and they're able to get back into it, get that momentum shift like they did on the weekend, and produce really a really close scoreline, and one that they could have won on a different night of the week.
What did I say between? I think it's Contepomi. I do rate him as a better coach than Checker. I know Checker's got a good history, but I think his team's attack quite stale, and I don't really think I thought he underperformed with the Wallabies as well. So after the World Cup final, of course, in 2015, the other 4 years, I thought he won. It's like underwhelming. But sorry, you guys say something casual.
Yeah, well, the topic switched a bit, but I wanted to bring it back to what you mentioned with the head contact. I saw a little clip on X today of, I think it was some New Zealanders actually talking about it. Has the game gone a bit soft? Do we see players all of a sudden milking stuff for the TMOs and everything to actually pick up on? Because, I mean, it started off with way back, Nick White, Faf de Klerk. That was crazy, right? That was the ultimate form of milking. We'll talk about this game more in depth in a second, but Wales against Australia, I thought Karevi truly milked that one. Who came in flying there into the ruck? I can't even remember. Might have been Jack, Simon Karevi.
Oh yes, yeah, and
yeah. Obviously, he got karma because then he got sent off with a red for head contact. We see this one now. I don't think it was the softest knock necessarily on Crowley, but I don't think it does look like he milks it as well a bit. Do we think that this is an issue that's creeping into the game, or not really?
Well, no, because you're at a time at the moment where so many ex-players are suing rugby because of stuff like that. Onset dementia. Because of head contact like this. And especially later in that game, which I don't know if he's offside, but Ken Darris, when an Argentinian player went to clean him out of ruck, straight into his head, compressed his head. Like, that's direct head contact. That should have been a red card. And yeah, I do think a lot of players are kind of milking it. They're rolling around the floor, a bit like footballer-esque. I hope that doesn't creep in because it's the sport for tough guys in the world, and you really don't want to see that. But at the same time, yeah, I do agree with the being harsh on head contact. It does have to stop.
Yeah, I think there's
but the one thing is they have to be consistent with it because stuff this weekend we saw someone getting no card and someone getting a red.
There's a difference between like blatant head contact being reckless, and that would have been a rugby collision. That would have been the ultimate form of a rugby collision, in my opinion. Those two, that incident between Crowley and I can't even remember who was sent off.
It was Maroney.
Yeah. Hey? Maroney. Yeah, so that would have been a proper rugby incident. Sorry, Aiden, you go.
Yeah, I just think we need a better way to distinguish, like blatant foul play and a rugby incident that needs penalising. Because I know it's really hard to do because you can't really distinguish intent. But I think that's the issue with a lot of it and why people fans especially get frustrated and why it's not consistent between games. Because some of the incidents you see, it's a guy, he's turned around, he's on the wrong foot, and he's, his shoulder's gone into the other player's head. He's had no intention to make head-high contact on the other player, but he gets sent off, and sometimes he gets a red card for it. And then there's other situations where, it's blatant foul play, and they should get sent off for it. But I just think we need a better way to distinguish between those two, so it doesn't just keep getting out cards. Because I watched a game the other day. It was on TV, a throwback game, All Blacks versus France in 2003. Oh my God, the most brutal thing I've ever watched. There were so many incidents in that game where in the modern day, that would be called a card, probably every 2 minutes. And obviously we have to look after player safety first and foremost. As Tiernan said, there are players that are suffering the long-term impacts. But I do need to think we need to find a balance between where player safety is met and where we're not taken away from the game, the spectacle that we're all paying to watch.
I just had to make sure, and I just rewatched it literally just now, and it is a yellow card. Like, it's not a rugby incident. Maroney, like, Jack Crowley doesn't change his height. He's low and his head's low, and
Smalley drives into his head. Yeah.
So I think it is the right decision for a yellow card. Talking about the actual play acting, though, it's difficult when they're only doing it for heads. Like, it's not like football. It's like you get touched on a toe and you go mad. And when you're sort of like pointing out your head, you do kind of have a point. Like, you can sort of alert the TMOs where someone else has done foul play, because it is foul play and it is dangerous play ultimately. So I think it's a difficult one. I don't think it's going to be like football, which is ridiculous and unwatchable.
Getting hit in the head. It's not like
it's
not like they're.
I've been concussed 3 times. I know how it feels.
Your head, it does hurt. So it makes sense in grabbing their head. But I do think whether it's intentional or not intentional, it's still head contact. They still got to penalise it equally, I think. So the players need to be conscious to not do it in the first place.
No, I don't mean like don't penalise it. I just mean like the penalty for it, like whether they're yellow upgraded to reds and whatnot. It just needs to find like a little bit of a better mix between those.
I've got a problem with this now as well. I was a fan of the 20-minute red card, but I'm not a fan anymore. Like, there are too many now already in this Autumn Nation series getting upgraded to red. That Australia one, Karevi on I can't remember which Welsh person it was, but last year that's a yellow card. That's not getting upgraded to a red. But now, because there's sort of this soft red, they're upgrading it and they sort of changed the threshold. And you want it to stay the same, like a red card.
That should have been a red, don't you agree, Jake?
No, not the Australian tackle. I thought he dipped quite late.
He could have been a lot lower. That was just silliness. If you're going to tackle like an idiot, then you have to get binned.
Who?
Some Karevi.
Everyone.
Yeah.
But I thought it's like his shoulder hit their shoulder and then their heads clashed secondly. Like, that's a lower degree of danger than just shoulders to head. So I would have thought last year that would be a yellow, and now it's gone to a 20-minute red.
You see, but that's where the intent comes in for me. Like, you get proper rugby collisions. Where that one of Crowley, that was a rugby collision, because you could see he was low. He tried to tackle. They both came up at the same time. They not.
He drove upwards.
He's low, but Crowley's low, but he's not changing. It's a yellow card. It's not rugby.
That's what I agree with, right? Because we're talking about red cards now.
Okay.
Karevi had all the time in the world. He stood up straight, just silly. That's just stupid. That's where I am.
It's just put it slightly wrong.
It's so tough to talk about it, right? Because the debate's going to go on forever.
What I'm trying to compare it to something like Radradras last week, where he full on us 30 metres and then smashes, Win It or someone last week against Wales, and that's a clear red. This one, for me, the Karevi one, if there's more borderline yellow, I'd have said.
Yeah, that's the issue, right? You can't really leave it up for, like, even us debating, right, about this, literally the same scenario. It's a tough one. You can't really leave it up to interpretation when it comes to sport, because we will all find it very different. Like, I was like the first one to rugby collision, but Tiernan's like, no, that was stupid. He was driving up. You get what I mean? So it's just silly. We need to find somehow to.
Oh, the team.
It's all right because Wales gave away 21 points anyway during that yellow card, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? But that's why I'm actually for the 20-minute red card. I do like the 20-minute red card, because imagine if Maroney got sent off with a red and they had to play from minute 3 with 14 men because of that. It would have been rubbish. It would have spoiled the whole game. Look at what beautiful game we got out of it with 15 against 15. Anyway, let's move on. France, All Blacks. What a game of rugby. I saw this game, right? And I got more infuriated with the French. Like, I physically, as I was watching it, I started hating the French, like brutally hating them, because of they are robbing 2 or 3 more tests like that from us next year. That is literally why, because their tests are always so good to watch. The French always step up. They bring the best out of everyone. Everyone brings the best out of them. And we're getting robbed of that next year again. So I was watching it. And I'm like, you absolute assholes, stealing this from us 2 more times next year. Aiden, 1 point defeat. You should be used to this by now. How are you feeling?
Oh, another 1 point defeat in Paris. Oh, God. Yeah, as you said, first and foremost, stunning game. Like, I think was the best game of the weekend.
By a mile.
Ebb and flow. You know, you never really knew who was going to win that game. I think the All Blacks dominated the first half. The French definitely settled in better in the second half. Oh, man, it's tough. It's really tough. I think overall, again, I've said this on the live yesterday. I'm going to sound English. I thought we played better overall, complete package. But, you know, you got to credit the French where credit is due. Their defence was immense. We struggled, especially exiting from the kickoff. That was terrible. It was so hard to watch. We just couldn't get the ball away, especially when Ratama came on. But I'm not going to throw him under the bus because Cam Roigard was exceptional. He was the best halfback on the pitch that night. I'm not going to say anything further. But the French team is class, very class. And I know I went on a huge rant earlier in the week about it, but it's for the same reason that Casual was saying, like, we want to see more of this, man. It was the best game of the weekend. We have 3 more tests against them next year in New Zealand. Imagine even if we had 2 games like that, 1 game like that, it would be all worth it.
Imagine that alongside the Wallabies that are getting up now against the British and Irish Lions. That partnering All Blacks versus France.
And, yeah, I mean, they are an incredible side. As simple as that. They are massive in the packs. They've got exciting flair in the back 3. BLBRA is lightning.
How quick is that guy?
Yeah. He's
35 kilometers an hour, I think he got up to. That's mad.
Yeah.
Is there anyone quicker than him in World Rugby?
I don't think so.
I'd love to see a proper foot race between him and Rico, but Rico doesn't play on the wing, so you won't see it.
Rico cry about it online and then just not show up. Pull his hand or something.
This is not even related to what we said, but sure.
Tiernan is like those South Africans, right? Where they just see a random video of Ireland and they're like, how many quarterfinals have you won? That's literally Tiernan right now. It's just something so unrelated. It just spazzes this out.
But regardless, I don't want to detract away. BLBRA was sensational. Like his positional game as well, the stuff you don't really see, was exceptional. His defense was criminally underrated. He was awesome on defense. Yeah. He was stopping Caleb Clark.
He's a strong boy for his size, huh?
Yeah, he was stopping Caleb Clark in his tracks, which is tough to do one-on-one. Look, DuPont had a good game. I thought Ramos at 10 was excellent. I wasn't really sure what to expect.
They don't miss Jalibert.
No, Jalibert flew home because he didn't get picked to start. It's outrageous.
Oh, Jake, what do you think about that? What do you think of Jalibert? What do you think about those antics? Because if that was Russie, he never plays again. He can forget about a green and gold ever. If he pulls some shit like that.
I can understand why he's annoyed because he's an actual fly half, whereas Ramos is a 15. So they both could have started in, arguably that'd be a stronger team. That Buros on his debut, he played really well as well. So I don't know. I can understand why he's annoyed, but yeah, it's a bit childish, isn't it, to just leave the whole camp just for being on the bench. So he's probably not going to get picked up again soon. But he's got 3 years to try and make up for it, to be fair. But yeah, it's a bit childish.
Yeah, I mean, same with an All Blacks camp. If you walk away from a camp like that, that's it. Your career is pretty much done.
Pretty much anywhere, any team in the world, like you just.
Yeah, the French.
I think I pick for France again because that's just.
Yeah, wow. The French have always had a lot of exciting stuff going on behind closed doors. Obviously, the 2011 World Cup, they sacked their coach halfway through the tournament. So it's not the first time something crazy has happened. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else too much to say. I think a lot of people have been talking about going for the 3 points with 4 minutes or 5 minutes to go. And sure, if we'd got a drop goal and won the game, you're thinking, great, excellent decision. But we didn't. So a lot of people are criticising that.
I thought that was the right decision to go for the penalty, because then you're in touching distance and you literally could have got, if you got down the pitch again 50 meters out, you get a 50-meter penalty. Jordy Barrett maybe
off the pitch though.
He was off the pitch. Well, let's say 45 meters, and then you have Damien McKenzie, right? So it would have been easier than go for the try, don't score the try, and then they just heave it away and you have to go again, and that's your final opportunity. Then you don't have that 3 points that you can use or anything like that. So,
yeah, I think
that's a tough one as a captain. You just back your team to get down the field again.
Yeah, I think from a New Zealand perspective, from a fan's perspective, it's again holding on to some nostalgia. Like, All Blacks teams of old, 10 out of 10 times they'll kick to the corner, right? They know that that's where their strength is, whether it's a rolling maul, whether it's quickly spreading it wide to dot it down in the corner. Teams of old, you just expect them to kick for the corner in the dying minutes and go for the try, and they were so good that 8 out of 10 times they'd get it. But it's not that team anymore. Like, I love the All Blacks, I really do, but we're third, anywhere from fourth to second best in the world at the moment. You know, those rankings are so fluid at the moment. We're not,
and it's also a team that hasn't really scored in the final 20 minutes of a game. So when you have that opportunity, take your 3 points and hope it comes again.
Yeah, exactly. We're not that team anymore. We're a good side and we're a building side. And next year we will be very, very tough to beat. But, you know, we're not that dominant number one in the world anymore where we win, 95% of our games. It's just not the same. So I think we look at the positives. Peter Larkai coming on in the 3rd or 5th minute, playing almost 80 minutes, was incredible. Cam Roigard was awesome. Our loose forward trio, exceptional. Our set pieces, scrums, we won pretty much every scrum, probably deserved a few more penalties from it. Line out was awesome. So I'm looking at the positives, even though it was a loss. Got to credit the French team for getting the W, but we moved.
I'll give some credit to that Colombe, who came on a prop for France and played 70 minutes. I thought he was great as well, especially around the park. But yeah.
Yeah, it was the other side, I think, that got penalised, not his side.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, like, Jake, you even mentioned it a couple of times, like, that wasn't even first choice, third or fourth choice props that they had out on the field, which makes it even more commendable.
I was thinking next summer, they might not have their best 20 players and they'll still go and beat you. They got loads of depth. They're going to smash you in New Zealand next year.
Oh, listen to this.
First of all, that's not the point, right? That's not the point that any of us are making, because they could send whatever team they send down, and even if they win a game, la-di-da, it's not the point whether the games are close. It's a point that we want to see their best players. This is the reason why they're X-Factor players. Like Dupont is an X-Factor player. We want to see him play. But, it's a story for another time.
It is what it is. Jake, did you have any final thoughts to add on the France-New Zealand game?
I was going to say, New Zealand fans are disappointing, aren't they? Because they're giving loads of praise to the French about being silent for the haka, and it was a very cool haka where they did the lights and stuff. But they gave loads of praise to the French, and they just forgotten that the French are stabbing them in the back next year in this tour thing. So New Zealand fans, short memory.
Every now and again, Jake just decides, listen, I will be the public enemy of everyone. And then he wants to come on to the next episode and cry because the people are bullying him in the comment section. Like, he doesn't do himself any favors, right? His team sucks, so people banned him about that. And then he tries to bully the other people, bully the other fan forum cast members. And then he's going to get slaughtered in the comments once again. And then he's going to cry about it once again on the group chat. It's just rinse and repeat at this point. He just doesn't learn his lesson. Anyway, final game that we want to chat about. Wales, Australia. We finally, well, I don't want to say an 80-minute performance of Australia, like a 70 minutes one, because they had like a 10-minute blip when they were up 19-0 where they let Wales back in. But other than that, they steamrolled Wales. Out of this world. Tom Wright, that guy. He's just that guy. Tiernan, did you manage to get an eye on this game?
What do they see in Gatland? How do you get to this point where you're getting smashed by Australia? They absolutely outplayed Wales. Like that is a completely different team than we saw even 6 months ago when they played against them in that tour. Like Gatland has to go. You don't lose 11 games the full year as Wales, who were one of the best, we're one of the known rugby nations.
They won the Six Nations 3 years ago. How is this
Grand
even
Slam
possible?
3 years ago. Not just won it, they Grand Slammed it and the World Cup semi-final, and now look where they are. It's mental.
Just makes no
Can I
sense.
just say, to be fair, I was going through some of the players on live, and there's about 20 players who recently are either retired, unavailable, injured, or dropped out, or something like that. And they are missing a lot of players. Pretty much all their backs are out for that game, to be fair.
Well, Anscombe was there. First choice.
So you got one. You got one there.
Okay. No, but Cam Winnett, he's better than was it Liam
See
Winnett?
who they've lost. Okay, I'll go to rattle off some really quickly. That's sort of like Rio Dyer, Reece Samet, Josh Adams, Grady, Hawkins, Tompkins. Thomas Williams, probably one of the best nines in the whole of UK and Ireland right now. They're missing a lot of backs, especially for that game. But to be fair,
but we've all been speaking about how there's still talent in that back line. Like, if you look at how the Scarlets have been playing this season, they've got a couple of young gems out there. Like,
you see that Rogers guy? He was class. He was class for Wales yesterday, or whatever, to be fair.
Yeah, they've still got talent. Listen, I'm not saying they should be world beaters or anything like that, but they should be performing a lot better than conceding, 52 points at home against Australia. That was terrible. You look at their Lucy's, the only guy that was really out there that actually played rugby, Jack Morgan, was the only guy that played.
Why did Gatland put Rafael on the bench? Is he trying to get sacked? I don't know.
Especially Gatland, he doesn't even care about his team anymore. I think Jack Morgan might be the only line they get, if even.
Thomas Williams,
maybe Rainwright as well.
But it's just like, sorry, I was just gonna say that they are missing some people. But as you said, as it Tiernan earlier, like the difference between the two teams 6 months ago, whatever, on the tour, and now where both teams are gone, it's just like one's gone up, one's gone down. I'd get rid of Gatland.
Yeah. Aiden, you probably also feel very good. Me and you both very vocal that Australia is not as bad as everyone says.
No.
You know what?
No.
Shut up, Jake. You know what really impressed me like the most is the pace that they were still playing at near the end of the game. Wales were out on their feet, but Australia just looked like they had 4 more gears to go. I mean, Wales looked dead, and then you bring off the bench Will Skelton, like a 200 kilogram truck, just smashing into people. And Swali once again, Len Ikitau, also that guy. Cam Winnett's got quick feet. He left him for dead.
Yeah, I mean, this team is building nicely, and it's actually incredible what Joe Schmidt has done to that team in less than a year. And if they keep building on the same trajectory they're on now, because they're not, I doubt they'd beat someone like South Africa or France or Ireland at the moment. But if they keep going on the trajectory they're at, a couple years' time, even next year, it'll be a Wallabies team to be afraid of. I mean, Tiernan said it earlier. He's a little nervous about Aussies coming to his backyard, and fair enough. They are playing some outrageously good and incredibly exciting rugby. And it takes you back to the Wallabies of old that were a counter-attacking team that could score from anywhere and were never out of the fight. And it's great to see. And God, Tom Wright is so bloody good. I'm going to keep sticking by it. I think he's the best fullback in the world right now. He is sensational, and I love watching him play.
He's unbelievable. He's unbelievable at the moment. But the thing is, look at the growth that they've made since Joe Schmidt's come in. Give him 3 more years with the home World Cup as well. The fans starting to back them. The fans starting to back them. Maybe even you see another guy. They see, well, Joseph Swali, he's got a 6 million contract. I'll go for 2 million. Just get another gem out there.
More will come.
Yeah, he said. We talked about it.
The Wallabies have money. The money is not an issue. They have money. They will get. I think they'll get another. Maybe they're not rich, but they do have money. Like, they're not broke.
Well, they're going to get 100 million.
6 million on the players.
So that's 100 million for the Lions.
They get like £100 million or whatever, Australian dollars.
Now imagine this, and they win the Lions Tour. They put up a solid performance in the Rugby Championship. All of a sudden, there's a bit of hype around this Wallabies team, and
Yeah, I think
they will be competitive in the 2027 World Cup.
all they need to do is hold on to Joe Smith with both hands, tie him to the chair if they have to. Just do not let that guy leave, man. He is doing wonders for you. And Australian rugby have gone through too many coaches too quickly. They need to hold on to him. And yeah, with Joseph Sua'ali'i in the squad now, he set a precedent for those sorts of players that they can jump over. And sure, it's not great for players coming up through the regular rugby system, but it's great for Australian rugby. So I'm excited. We might see some super athletes.
Their starting 15 matches up pretty well against any team in the world at the moment. I think the big thing is obviously just a bit of squad depth, but they match up physically real nice. Nick Frost has even taken his game to the next level. That guy played very well. He's been playing very well. Their Lucies are incredible. That back line, once again, you just have to talk about those long phases of attack. Just so persistent, so quick, dummy runners everywhere. And you saw that they've smashed Wales. They've smashed through England's backline. The only thing that they kind of need to pick up a bit is like they've got this dip in defense and they just concede points. If they cut that out, put up solid performances for about 60, 70, 80 minutes, they'll be sorted.
They genuinely.
Especially that Lions tour, 6 months ago, we were like, "There, why are we even going? We're going to put 50 points on them every game. Now it's going to be competitive. They've got the Lions let their guard down. They're going to do what they're doing to teams now, and they're just going to go score a bunch of tries. And especially, give them a year, they're going to be insane. World Cup, like you said, at home, they're contenders. They will be contenders, I think. And Joe Schmidt, like I always say, born in New Zealand, perfected in Ireland. You can thank him for this. And yeah, the Eddie Jones era, it's gone, forgotten now.
Jake's just getting so. Jake, let out your frustrations. Tell us what's in your mind.
I can't deal with this. Tinnan's absolute rubbish protected in Ireland. I mean, Ireland are dependent on Kiwi coaches and players to even be relevant in world rugby. So that's how it actually is protected in Ireland.
Maybe you should try it. You might win some games.
You can't beat us. You can't beat us.
Oh, we will. We have done.
Well, we'll see.
What's your homes here? First game of the Aviv in Six Nations. Good luck.
January 31st, we're going to end your little record in the glass library.
We already did.
Yeah, no, but they're pre-game record.
Yeah.
Who's got the longest winning streak now in rugby?
I think it's like Georgia or Chile.
No, not Scotland. Shit, who is it?
Scotland.
I don't know.
Yeah, Scotland.
He wants to say South Africa. People, he knows it's South Africa.
It's not South Africa.
It's not South Africa.
We lost against
lost
Argentina the other day.
Not ages ago. I was like 2 months.
Yeah, but it's only been like 2 games since then for them, or 3.
Yeah. Could it be France? How much?
No, they lost to Argentina.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh my word.
Argentina out here ending streaks. How good?
No, I think it is South Africa.
I don't think it is.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, maybe Australia. Oh no, they lost to New Zealand. They're only 1 game.
Nah.
2 games.
Can we just talk about
It's
this game
Italy.
actually? Georgia against Italy, and kind of how close that was, and what does this mean now for Georgia and kind of Tier 2 rugby in general?
Well, Jake watched the whole game live, so I'll just give Jake the floor to
So did
talk about the whole game.
I watched it.
Okay.
You say what your thoughts are on the game.
Georgia, like that, hit their fullback first. What's his name? Nashvili or something?
David Niniashvili.
Nashvili, yeah. Like he's insane, and a couple players like that, they love rugby in that country. And this is what I mean. We don't give these Tier 2 nations enough spotlight. Other than the Autumn Age series, I think this might be the only game they're playing, the whole autumn. And now they're going to go back to their Rugby Year Championship. They're going to win whatever their 8th title in a row. They're too good for it. We need to start making a way for these Tier 2 nations. The same goes for
How much better is Georgia than Portugal?
They're a lot better. They're a lot better.
No, they're not a lot better, but they're better. They are better.
They're better. They're
Because-
better to the point where their league isn't competitive.
I would say it's probably like a gap between Italy and Japan. If you can sort of imagine that, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you've got certain Tier 2 nations that are, like, close, maybe 1 or 2 of them. But then, like, we thought Portugal might do a bit better. but that was just the World Cup performance, I reckon, that they put in to get the win over who was it, Fiji.
Yeah.
Well, they drew against Georgia, didn't they, in the World Cup as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time they've done it in like 15 years.
Yeah. But then it's like, okay, tier 2 rugby, you feel like it's on the up. But then they go ahead and get 60 put on them by a second string Scotland team.
I think they're being harsh. I think that was some good Scottish players. I know it's not all their starters, but they're still playing in like the Premiership and URC. They're good players still. And,
Okay, is it their first team or is it their second team? It's their second team. So a second string team. There you go. Thank you, Jake.
Yeah, but you're saying like that's a bad thing. I'd say they're still a good team, and there's no disrespect for Portugal. Portugal lost 38 points, but one of them was a couple of them were silly intercepts. You compare that to Wales losing by 32 points at home to Australia. I love that.
Wales is a tier 2 team. Wales should be playing against Portugal. That would be competitive.
Promotion relegation playoff last week. They lost it. It's Fiji now.
But if we talk about that Georgia-Italy game, like Georgia, they were 19-6 up at halftime, or 17-6, I can't remember. And they should have won. They could have won the game easily. They should never get out the half in the second team. What do you think, Zinnan?
They definitely should have won that game. And if you watched it, you knew points where they were leading and they were looking like they were going to beat Italy comfortably, and they lost their momentum. Italy got back in the game.
It's just like such a game of two halves. But they are a good side, Georgia. Definitely, I would say better than Japan, but they're about Japan level and Japan and Wales level. And I don't know. Do you make it 7 nations or do you bring in a new tournament team and that? We both said
we both love this Rugby Euros idea.
You know what would be great? Keep it at 6 nations. I think 6 nations work pretty well. But what I would do is I wouldn't say promotion. Let's say promotion relegation, but you have 2 semifinals. Right, let's say after the 6 nations or before it, where you take Portugal, Georgia, and let's say Spain. I'm just making an example, and then you take the team that ended last in the 6 nations, and you throw them into one of those semifinals, and then 2 semifinals, and then the final, and they take the 6th spot. Even if you want to do the bottom 2 teams or whatever, it just makes it better for rotation. It gets those teams that were kind of underwhelming the previous time. Gets them a head start on the other teams to say, okay, well, we're giving you this head start to warm up so that you can be more competitive this season or something like that, right? I think that could be great for the game.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure Wales could survive going down at the moment.
No.
If Wales
would, no team would. They rely too much on the 6 nations to make their money.
Yeah, exactly. If they dropped out of the 6 Nations, especially where Wales are at the moment,
that's why a Euros tournament with just get 60. I did a whole simulation of this over the summer. I don't know if you saw that account, but I got 16 teams in Europe. They're crap, right? The pools will be crap. You'll see some 100-point wins, but it gives these teams opportunities to play the big teams more often, and it gives them the other countries they're not going to go supporting all the time the fans in those countries, but you give them this thing where a lot of the country gets behind their rugby team just for the 6 weeks or whatever.
It might even be better
to massively benefit it.
It might even be better to do an FA Cup style tournament with all those same teams, because then you can sort of schedule the games whenever the teams are available, rather than have set weekends for everything. But yeah, I think you have to add, not take away. So promotion relegation takes away from someone to give to someone else. They need to just have a pool of something new that everyone benefits from.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's why the Euro is such a good idea.
Okay. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. People, I hope you liked and enjoyed it. Please do remember to hit that like and subscribe button. We do appreciate you guys. Go to Aiden, aka Rugby Ramblings, 24-hour Rugby Jake, and Tiernan. Go to their social medias, hit the follow button there, go watch their stuff. It's truly entertaining. Just all from a fan perspective. We love and enjoy you guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.